That event happened on Saturday at her bookstore. Both Brett Kavanaugh and U.S. President Donald Trump have been targeted for hexes. The organizer of the event says it aims to challenge abusers by exposing them publicly. Kavanaugh was accused of sexually assaulting a girl in the 1980s.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. As I documented last week, witches gathered in New York City this past Saturday and indeed go through with their public hexing of Kavanaugh and Donald Trump. And of course, the money that they made from this event went towards Planned Parenthood. I'm going to show you a news clip in a few minutes where your stomach might turn. It might turn, not because it's bloody and gory and things like that. It is just, it's something that you can't comment on anymore here on YouTube, but you could imagine when you see it, just what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, because they get a witch on Fox News to talk about the spell casting. And it's not your ordinary witch, folks. It's well, I'll let you see for yourself. But before we get there, I know you're anticipating it if you want to throw up in your mouth. Let me talk a little bit about the hex, because Christians actually did show up. And I'm glad that they did, and they made it known that none of their witchcraft or their hexing will work on anybody who has Jesus Christ, who has salvation through Jesus Christ. But 60 people met at the Catland bookstore. You can see the voodoo dolls with the satanic sigils on them, with Kavanaugh's head and Trump's head. But remember, everybody thinks this is like a huge joke, right? This is a store, a witch shop, right? They're selling, as you saw in the clip earlier, they're selling skulls of who knows what. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous stuff that these people are allowed to get away with. They're selling beaver skulls, right? And now people will be like, oh yeah, they probably went out, found some dead beaver skulls out in the middle of the woods. I'm sure the beavers weren't ritually sacrificed, and then they took the skull, because that's what these freaks do. But 60 people showed up to cast these spells. They claimed it was a protest, but a religious ritual as well, and said it could be both. The group met inside a dark room with folding chairs, chanted before an altar. This is all normal, right? This is a political protest, chanting before an altar that was lit with candles, and then read Bible passages aloud. On the altar were three puppets or cloth dolls made to look like real people. Those three people were Kavanaugh, Trump, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Before the hexing began, a small group of counter-protesters gathered outside the bookstore to condemn the witchcraft from taking place. Several counter-protesters denounced the hexing over a loudspeaker. As Christian music blared, people took turns giving sermons and singing hymns. I'm not here for Kavanaugh, I'm here for your souls, one person said. You can do hexes, you can do whatever you want. It's not going to nullify the kingship of Jesus Christ, and that's 100% true. During the ceremony, there was barricades and stuff like that outside, or so it says. One of the people instructed them to chant loudly so the people outside could hear them. The counter-protesters outside eventually quieted down as the roughly 1.5-hour ceremony occurred inside. During the first half of the event, attendees were encouraged to sing and chant along with the witch who was running the ceremony. During the second half of the ceremony, the witch invited attendees to share their thoughts, their experiences with sexual assault, or anything they would like the group to know. And they say the takeaway from this is that there was a big show of solidarity, right? So the whole witch part just gets overlooked. You know, how this stuff is becoming normal, how witches are allowed to meet in public and do this type of stuff. You know, if this was a Christian, Christians getting together to say, to pray against Hillary Clinton for becoming president or something like that, even though for the 1,000th time it's not a republic, but say it was. They'd be all over the news. Oh, how dare they? The nerve of them. Oh, they're not supposed to judge, right? You can imagine the stuff they'd be saying. But this event did occur. And of course, they make it seem like, oh, this is about political, a political movement and women's empowerment. And they make the witch stuff seem like it's silly, even though they got the voodoo dolls, right? They're using the Bible in their ceremony, of course, mocking God. I'm sure that they use it and probably read it backwards, right? Because we know Satanists invert everything. They read the Bible backwards. They think our Father in heaven is the evil one. So It's just more of the stuff I've been telling everyone and showing you, that these witches are coming out of the woodwork. They're getting pushed into the limelight. It's disgusting and it's disgraceful. Now I'm going to show you this clip, if you've been waiting to see it, where they talk a little bit with a witch, one of the witches who was on hand. If you want to call it a witch, I don't know what you can call it, but I mean, it'll make your stomach turn. But this creature talks about the spells that'll be done. And it's just really embarrassing, and it's really disgraceful that this is what our world is coming to. And this is normal, right? This is supposed to be normal. We're supposed to accept this. So take a look for yourself and try not to barf.
The left is still so angry over the recent confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh that some are resorting to witchcraft to hurt him. That's right. A coven of witches is gathering in Brooklyn as we speak to place a hex on Justice Kavanaugh in hopes that evil will come his way. Earlier, I spoke with Dakota Bracciale, who is the leader of this occult group. All right, so Dakota, you're a witch.
Yeah.
And you are going to use witchcraft against Justice Kavanaugh.
Yep.
What is the ritual that you are undertaking?
Well, like traditionally in witchcraft, we don't share, most people don't share the exact particulars of the ritual.
Can you give me a hint?
Well, there will be effigies, photos, graveyard dirt, coffin nails, open flames, the whole bit.
Whoa, whoa. So will an effigy of Kavanaugh be burned by the witches?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a picture of Kavanaugh will be burned?
Yes.
What will you be doing with the graveyard dirt?
So that goes in a container spell, which is basically when you take a jar, fill it with ingredients, seal it, and then burn candles on it. And it's like a continuing spell that you can then re-up on anytime.
Is there a cauldron involved?
Yeah, that's where the fire will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And has these things worked in the past, these hexes?
Yeah, we feel like they have.
How have you proven that they've worked? And who else have you hexed?
Well, we hexed Trump last summer. We did 3 cumulative rituals. So there was one in June, one in July, one in August. And since then, a lot has come out. I mean, the hex... So a lot of people take it as like hexing is to like make that person die or like do something horrible to them. But it all really depends specifically on like what you're trying to do, right? And that's all in the wording and all in the intention. For us, it's about exposing these people because we believe that they are fundamentally dishonest and fundamentally unethical. And so we want that to be exposed.
Perhaps the Trump hex didn't work because the president is winning over and over again.
Well, I think that depends on how you define winning. On our side of things, we feel that since last summer, we have the Russia probe, which has led to, I mean, how many convictions does it take to figure out that it's not necessarily a victory so far?
So you believe the hex on Trump worked. And now you will be hexing Brett Kavanaugh as well. Are you a peaceful witch? Are you an evil witch? How would you describe yourself?
I don't necessarily ascribe either to myself because I don't think that anything in our universe or in our world is as cut and dry as good and evil. I don't think that people are fundamentally good or evil. I think that everyone has...
Well, excuse me. Water's world is good.
Oh, really? Okay. That's a relief, I guess. But that also depends on your definition of good. I mean, for example, religiously, right? Like every religion in the world would have a different definition for what the right action would be. There's some general tenets that most of them adhere to, but I mean, everyone has their different idea of morality and what constitutes a moral action.
Do you think that the witchcraft that you guys are pursuing makes the left and anti-Kavanaugh and anti-Trump people look a little silly?
I really wouldn't mind if it did. I mean, I think, you know, one of the things I do want to make sure that we get to discuss between us is this isn't just about the right. This is absolutely also about the left. I mean, I've said repeatedly...
Oh, well, you know what? You should cast a spell on Hillary Clinton.
I don't really...
She's actually already been cursed.
I don't
Leave
know
her alone. What about Nancy Pelosi?
With my morals, I'm not really about, like, kicking someone while they're already down.
Well, isn't that what Eric Holder wants to do?
I don't know. I kind of feel like with Hillary, she's already not doing too well and needs to maybe a hex of silence would be good, just for a little while.
You're a Bernie bro, aren't you?
No, not
Are you
at
a
all.
Bernie witch?
No, not at all. I like a lot of what Bernie has to say. I don't agree with everything that he has to say.
Okay.
I think that in a lot of ways he will sort of espouse very hard leftist rhetoric and then in practice doesn't actually carry through with it.
Well, for a witch, you know a lot about politics.
You have to.
Dakota, thank you very much. Let's get a look at these rings. Look at these rings and nails, everybody. Could we get a tight shot of that?
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very